The Advil just hit. I think we as a people are incredibly ungrateful for the power of Advil, Aleve, aspirin. I mean, we just take a pill and the pain goes away? Question mark? Physical pain? I'm so happy to be back in the studio, in the stew, on this white futon and these cranberry walls, because we have so much to discuss today, and a lot of it is unbelievable, quite literally unbelievable. I do have some housekeeping from the last solo episode. I'm feeling the need to clear up that I didn't go on Lexapro because I felt like I couldn't leave a party early. I went on Lexapro because all of the serotonin in my brain just took a sabbatical. They left, didn't leave a note. They were nowhere to be found. So just feel the need to clear that up. Now, if you hear me being winded, heavy breathing, I just got over COVID for the first time, and my lungs are paying the price. So just bear with me. I don't even know where to begin. What I do want to say before we get into the absolute hell, the depths of hell that the last 3 weeks have been, I do want to just say a big thank you to my family who put on a beautiful wedding. They could not have done it better. It was just an exquisite evening. They both looked beautiful. You know, will I be talking a little bit of shit on this episode? Absolutely. But they did nothing wrong, and they should not be paying the consequences for whoever put a hex on my family. Whoever has little voodoo dolls that they've been breaking the necks, putting through a cheat. Hello? Okay, I also have a feeling the brain fog on this episode is really going to humble me. So, 3 weeks ago, my family, my mother, my father, my sister, and I went to Europe. The inciting incident was a family wedding. And then after the wedding, you know, we did a little girls' trip in Portugal, and my dad went off to do his little bike soiree. From the jump, I had a bad feeling about this trip. So much so that I texted a psychic. And I said, hello. Having a weird gut feeling about this trip for months. You know, is it anxiety? Is it intuition? Granted, she did not give me any fair warning of what was about to transpire. It was all, you're going to have a blast. Just maybe keep an eye out on some valuables. There's going to be some delays. It's going to be so fun. I honestly want to send her a Venmo request because boy, oh boy. So we get to the airport, and I just want to preface by saying I didn't pay for shit on this trip, okay? My family knew because this was a European wedding, you know, I would not be attending if I had to pay for it because flights were, say it with me, $2,700 for economy. Now, my sister and I, being just the grateful children that we are, we walk all the way back of the plane. We passed Nancy Silverton in her first class seat, gave her her blessings. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say airlines, like is that defamation? I don't know. But I'll just say it rhymes with Swiss Airlines. I have never in my life seen so many seats squished next to each other. I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say the seat in front of me when it was reclined was quite literally in my lap. Mind you, I'm 5'5". Some may say I'm petite. In my lap. I asked probably every single employee in a 500 square foot radius if there were any upgrades available. None. None to be had. The other thing is, when did airlines and airplanes get so hot? I thought the whole thing was they were always freezing and you had to bring a blanket and hand warmers and a scarf, but God damn, it was hot. I mean, I was in a tank top, skin touching the seat. And for some reason, the headrest wasn't leather, it was fabric. It was fabric. You can't disinfect fabric. So whatever, we settle in and, you know, probably within 2 hours of this 11-hour flight, mind you, we have a layover and then another flight to get to Mallorca. Probably within 2 hours of this flight, I'm seeing everyone fanning themselves. You would think we were in the Serengeti. Okay, hotter than the sun. Now I, leading the horse to water, decide to call over the attendant. Is that the right word? That sounded so old money. And I just said, is there any way we could, you know, turn down the AC? Now, in retrospect, to this day, I don't know, is it turn up the AC, turn down the AC? Because if you say turn up, are you referencing the temperature? You know, make it warmer? Turn down make it colder. Now, tell me why this man looked me dead in my sweaty eyes and said, well, it's negative 32 degrees outside, so. Huh? Okay. I'm wearing tennis shoes. What does that have to do with? And I kind of just gave him I was like waiting for the second part of the story he was telling me and then just walked away. What do you mean? So that did nothing. Also, how come within maybe 20 minutes of a flight, the quote basin of the airplane bathrooms, gone? I mean, just absolutely obliterated. I went in there was a loose spoon on the countertop. Countertop is definitely a stretch. It's like a 1 inch by 1 inch. I don't even know what you would call it, but why is there a spoon? The floor is always sopping wet. Anyway, what I noticed, okay, here are my two observations on this 11-hour flight that I did not sleep a quote wink. Not a wink. Observation 1. I cannot be the only one who thinks about every single ex I've had during the full duration of the flight. I'm thinking about my 3rd grade boyfriend who used to, you know, tie my shoes for me. The homophobic Jamaican, lest we forget. I'm going through photos. What could have been the second I touch ground and hop, skip, and a jump off that plane, don't give a shit. There's just so much nostalgia on a plane that is... I'm sure the guy behind me was looking at me, just scrolling, being like, oh, this poor woman. Observation number 2. This is more of a suggestion that I think would benefit us as a whole when we travel. You get 1 fart per cabin. Okay? First class gets 1 fart. Business, 1. Premium economy, that's kind of me, gets 1 fart. Economy gets 1 fart. The cacophony of flatulence throughout the flight, it's too much. I got to the point where I was eating someone's feces. Mind you, the bathroom is 10 feet away. You get 1 fart. You get to work amongst each other, come together as a team, and decide who gets it. Get some camaraderie going on. Oh, Mark, you get 1 fart for first class. I know you had a hard week. Jessica, you just gave birth. Please, you get the fart. But everyone thinking they can fart, it's a little greedy. It's a little much. So we land, you know, obviously get into another hot airport, take our hopper. We finally make it. We're alive. We did it. We did it. I will say hotel is beautiful. You know, the staff were great. Another old money thing to say. And, you know, a couple days in, it's wedding time. It's go time. The wedding was beautiful. You know how I feel about weddings, and I will say this one was probably the exception. Now, a couple notes for this wedding. It unfortunately did rain, which was unexpected. Everyone was in their tiny little dresses. And they had to move everything inside. That being said, we didn't eat till about 9:30. Now, something about me is I am hungry at all times. I am also gluten-free. Roll your eyes. I get it. It's a bummer. It's against my will. So in order to stay alive until 9:30, I had to eat the little glutinous dumplings being passed around. And in my head, I was like, I'll pay the consequences. Whatever. Give me this crab cake and we'll just, we'll push through. Now, did I throw up the next day? Absolutely. And I made my bed for that one. But again, the wedding was great. I saw family members I haven't seen in forever, and we just giggled. We giggled all night long. Now, tell me why I ended up talking to a man who makes jewelry out of breast milk. I'm going to say that again. Met a man who makes jewelry out of breast milk. What threw me off is he was very hot. And I had to know everything. I asked, do you get off to this? Is this a fetish? He was showing me cadaver teeth with gold in them. He essentially grinds down the teeth, mixes it with epoxy, and then turns it into a little bracelet. Just a little bracelet. The breast milk really threw me for a loop. But you know what? I guess there's a market for everything. So, cut to, a couple days later, mom, sister, and myself, we fly to Lisbon. We fly to Lisbon, Portugal. This is my third time I've been there. And I'm jazzed. I made the itinerary, made the reservations. I was ready for just a gal's trip. My mom's getting older, and having these memories are incredible and such a gift. So the spirits are high. Morale, high. We get on the plane. It's obviously delayed 2 hours. That's okay. You guessed it. I am on the heaviest day of my period at this point. And at this point, my mom, sister, and I, we kind of look at each other and we're like, does your throat hurt? Do you feel that tickle? And we think, it's just dry air. We'll get to the hotel, have a rest, what have you. By that night, something's up. Something is hitting us hard. I remember being at the restaurant and I constantly needed to either touch my mother or sister's arm because I felt like if I wasn't touching them, my soul would leave my body. They kept me tethered to the planet. I was like, I just felt awful. Hot, tired, just like dragging my feet. Lo and behold, the next morning, we all test positive for COVID. Can you believe it? It was my first time getting it, so I didn't know what to expect. We were navigating it, day by day. So the entirety of our Lisbon trip was in our hotel room. And I will say, was it as we expected? No. But watching Eat, Pray, Love all in one bed together, watching my mom just slurp down a Portuguese pho, and I'm sucking down some boneless wings. We made the most of it. We absolutely tore up the local pharmacy. Another thing, we got, this mosquito bite anti-itch little roller, 2 packs of their version of Tylenol, this antacid, because I obviously had debilitating heartburn. maybe like 2 waters. That'll be 13 euros. That's not even the cost of like Claritin in the States. So mind you, we get to Lisbon on a Wednesday. That's our day 1 COVID. Saturday rolls around. We finally get to go home. Okay. I think we were just running on so much adrenaline because we knew we had to do a 7-hour flight, a 4-hour layover, and then another 6-hour flight. And then we'd be home. So we get to the airport. We do the first flight. We're actually feeling okay. We do our 4-hour layover. And we board the second flight. Now, what I'm about to say is not funny at all. I've been trying to figure out whether or not to even tell this story, but the reality is it happened. And I think talking through it is helpful. So we board the plane, and there's a gentleman who's 2 rows in front of me. And you can tell he is struggling. He was probably anywhere between 500 and 600 pounds. He had a rag that he had to constantly, dry himself off. He did not look well. He had to ask someone to put his belongings in the overhead, and it was really heartbreaking to watch him because you could tell he felt really embarrassed by, people trying to get around him trying to get out of the way. People were being a little rude or a little pushy with him, and it was just heartbreaking. So we're about to take off, and the flight attendants, tell everyone to buckle up. And he unfortunately cannot fit the seatbelt around him. So a few moments after that, he drops his head and he's unresponsive. At this point, the flight attendants are, asking, is there a doctor on the plane? Can anyone help? They try to put oxygen on him. So at this point, we don't really know what's going on. There are a couple doctors on the plane who come up to the front, and they're, trying to get him to be responsive, and they're getting nothing in return. So at this point, they're calling the paramedics, and several passengers come up to try to get him out of the seat. They're having a really hard time getting him out of the seat, to a point they essentially throw him on the ground. Okay. I feel very fortunate that I did not see his face. I only say that because now knowing that he was deceased at this point, I did see his arm. It was sheet white. The paramedics come at this point. I'm assuming they rip his shirt open so that they do some sort of resuscitation. And I think what was really traumatic about this whole experience was all of the noises that were happening. A lot of people yelling, screaming, trying to lift him. The paramedics kept yelling. And, as they're trying to resuscitate him, they keep yelling flatline. Oh, and finally you hear the flatline. I mean, you just hear this low monotone beep. So they try to lift him up. They can't get him out of the plane. Mind you, at this point, this is a dead body. And he was alone. No family, no friends around him, to at least help. I don't even know what. Maybe it's better that no one that he knew was around him. They tried putting blankets under him, and that wasn't working. And I think they essentially had to drag him out by his feet to remove him. When people came out, they were sobbing and in shock. It was very traumatic to experience. The ground below him was wet. I don't know if he lost his bowels. I don't know if it was sweat. So that was intense, and we ended up having to deplane and then board the same plane knowing what just happened. You know, it was tough. It was really tough. How the hell am I going to get this podcast back on track? You know what? I think we need to stand up, shake it out, do a little red leather, yellow leather, because that's not the end of the story. Whew. Anyway, you know, we get home, could not be happier to be home. Ended up being a 26-hour travel day. You know, did I whimper a little bit when I walked through the doors of my home? Absolutely. Just a light whimper. At this point, I'm just grateful to be in my home, rip off this pad, and just get in the shower. Maybe cry a little in the shower, you know? Eat some bland chicken soup that you Postmated. Just something to really get back into the body. Come back down to earth. So the next day rolls around and I'm starting to feel some unfamiliar sensations in my nether regions, in my vagini leany teeny, in my cuchulunu tunu. So I do what every woman does. I turn the flash on my camera and I spread them. And if anyone got a hold of my deleted album, it would be over for me. You would find me in another country with a shaved head and a different name. So, cue the COVID vaginal blisters. What a treat. What a treat after everything that has happened to get some gorgeous vaginal blisters. And you're thinking, oh, it was probably like on the, you know, your bikini line. No, no, no. In my vulva. Crazy word. So obviously I'm like, okay, I have herpes? Question mark. I have syphilis? What the fuck is this? This is insane. So me and mommy Petros, we make a little field trip to Planned Parenthood. You know, I love going to lunch with my mom. I love going shopping with my mom. I love sitting on the couch with my mom. Going to Planned Parenthood with your mother is an interesting experience. You know, it brought us together. I loved watching her read the slideshow on the TV of just different, you know, little tidbits and facts. And just watching her go, interesting. Oh, okay. Oh, it was just a delight. So, you know, I'm proud to report they were just some viral COVID ulcers that went away, thank God. No herp, no syph. Also, they turn the fuck up in Planned Parenthood. 'Cause I'm a singer. I mean, blasting espresso. I think Maroon 5 made, you know, an appearance on the radio. They're just blasting Kiss FM while looking at your cuchuluni. So that was a gift. I lost my taste. I lost my smell. Everything tasted like the Eucharist, which was just awful. But I was sick for 15 days. Tested negative on day 15. To really just round it out, I did throw my back out, I would say, on day 7 of COVID. My mom says it looks like there is a hamster in my back, so you can just let your imagination run wild with that. I'll say this. I'm good on international travel for a bit. Some may say I'm good on domestic travel for a bit. You will not catch me in an airport, in a train station. I'm going to be right here. You know, I had the travel bug in my early 20s. Went to Italy by myself. Had a blast. Tootled around, you know, Amalfi Coast, Florence, Milan. Just vibing with my tiny cigarettes on the street. But I'm good. I'm so good Oh, do you want to go to, South America and we'll back? No. Mm-mm. Do you want to go to Australia and we'll do a little? No. I do not. Oh, you have to go to Croatia. We'll do like a 7-day boat. No. No, thank you. No, thank you. And I don't mean to sound, like a brat. I am very grateful for the opportunity to have gone to Europe this summer. But if you would have told me all of the series of events, also my sister has strep now, went to urgent care with her. She didn't flinch at all when they put the swab back there. Slut. Anyway, if you would have told me everything that would have transpired in the past 3 weeks, I would have sent a gift. I would have said, thank you so much for the invitation. I love you guys. Here is a crock pot, and I'll see you when we get back. And we can go to dinner and giggle and just have a blast. Because the last 3 weeks, my God, 2024 has been such a wonderful year. So if this is the hiccup, I'll take it. The other thing is, and some people may disagree, but I just don't think you're supposed to be alone when you're sick. I know the whole point is, you don't want to get other people sick, of course. You have to be mindful of that. But to be alone, for 11 days. Also, I couldn't lift anything because of my back. It just was such an isolating experience. At one point, knowing my mom and dad both have COVID, I went down to their place. And just to have my sweet mother, granted she felt a lot better, just make me some scrambled eggs. Just scratch my legs a little bit. Just to have another warm body around, I really think speeds up the healing process. Now tell me why her thermometer is from the 18th century. It's a glass, little long contraption, and there's mercury inside. There was literally mercury inside, and when you put it in your mouth, there's a little, allegedly, hump. And wherever the hump is, that's what your temperature is. Now, we have had this thermometer for the entirety of my life. It has traveled through homes. It has traveled through Y2K. I don't know how it's still with us and how the mercury isn't, oozing out, which, what a hazard. I mean, you're putting it in your mouth, huh? And to this day, I cannot see the hump. I'm staring at it. I'm twisting it. No hump to be found. And my mom has shittier vision than me. I honestly think it's a ruse. I think it's my mom's way of being like, no, I know what, when moms just put their hand on your head and they're like, you have a fever. Grab the thermometer. They just know, they're like, you're 102, just off their hand. Please. She and the thermometer are in cahoots. That being said, I need to fall in love. It's time. It's time. I don't think I can be sick again and be single. I think those days have got to be over. I need a sweet man to kiss the nape of my neck and fetch me a smoothie. Squeeze a little lime juice in my bone broth. Tell me everything's going to be okay. Put on Modern Family for me. Put on a cozy show that I've already seen that's going to take no brain power. Run me a bath. Put some Epsom salts in it, please. So I think I got to get my ass back out there. If you know of any tall, rich, introverted men, send them my way. emilytalks2@gmail.com. Send their stats, send their bank account information, and let's just get this ball rolling. It's time. So I think that is just about all I can give you. Stay safe. Take your vitamin C. Go to therapy. Hug your mother. And welcome to Emily Talks 2. Bye.